In this video, I'm gonna show you how to inspect a front end parts problem. If there is a excessive play, or there is a steering issue, or steering parts like tie rods, inner tie rods, outer tie rod, rack and pinion, lower ball joint, upper ball joint, strut mount, the one on the top here. You can see it when you open the hood. There's a strut mount on the top right here. These always have issues. The strut itself, the cartridge here, spring. So there are general rules for this. You could check it in most of cars, and you could just get a feeling of what's going on here. It could be the one of the tie rods or ball joint, or the wheel bearing, or the strut, like I said, have an issue, wearing out. So I already raised the car here, as you can see. It's up on the left. And I raised the wheel of the ground here, so you could see I could put my hand here under it. I just want to make sure I have a free wheel. In some cars, you have to. Let me show you something here. I was gonna explain this in a second. As you can see here, I raised the car on the K-frame or on the engine cradle. I didn't put it on the lower control arm. This is for a reason. I want to have a free control arm. I don't want to put too much pressure on the ball joint, which is this. There's a ball joint here. This one here, lower ball joint. I don't want to put a pressure on it in case something wrong with it. If you put a pressure on it, this way you can't. It doesn't move because of the lift pressure. In some cars like the BMW or some Mercedes, you have to very much support put the jack under the control arm, so this way you could put a pressure on a spring and you have a free wheel. Because this might trick you. If you raise it this way, you're not gonna see the play in the upper ball joint, especially on a BMW. So as you can see here, I'm gonna get back to these parts here after I show you some stuff on the wheel, how you check it. So the car is raised. Let me just station my camera and I show you how I check the wheel. This is general rules for most of cars. In some cars you have to go a different way, a little bit, not too much, but this is the general rule how you inspect the front end. So you go horizontal. If the wheel, don't put too much pressure on it, like trying to fight it. Just smaller place. See my fingers, my thumbs, like this. If it has like a weird display, and you could sometimes hear a click, this is something wrong with the inner or outer tie rods, either left or right. So if you do just this slowly like this, you can see there's no play here. And if you go vertical like this, you're checking the lower ball joint or upper ball joint or upper strut mount. You could feel it if it's too much, or there is a problem with the wheel bearing. So as you see here, it feels good. There's no play. I'm looking at the strut too. There's no play on the strut here. Again, horizontal and vertical. There is no play here. So next, we're gonna go under the car and check some other bushings. Not with hand, with a pry bar, so you can see where I look while I'm checking the front end. So this is I'm under the car here. This is the outer tie rod. This is the inner tie rod. This is the one inside the rack and pinion. So if you remember when I was shaking the wheel in horizontal movement, if there is any problem, it will be in one of those. So if this outer tie rod has issue, the wheel will wobble a lot when you turn it, when you try to move it in horizontal movement, or the inner tie rod. Another thing here you have to look at, you see this is the control arm. There is a back part for it. See the bolt is here, and there is a bushing inside it. I'm not sure if I could show you every single thing, but let me try my best. It's right here. Trying to control the camera and the light at the same time. Alright. You can see there is a bushing right here. This bushing for the cradle. And there is a bushing right here too. This is for the control arm. It's right here. So sometimes you can see it. Let me bring my light. The other light. Okay, you can see this right here. This is the lower control arm rear bushing. So most of the time, if this is bad, you have to change the whole control arm. And if you have a pry bar like this one here, you can put it in here and try to see if it moves. If it has like movement that goes back hard to its position, it's good. But if it has a lot of play, this one this is just a rubber movement, which is good. That's good. So again, you could check also this here, the front pushing, but most of the time the one in the rear goes bad, especially on those cars. And this is the lower ball joint here. Hopefully you can see this. As you can see, the axle boot is bad, but this is something I have to discuss later with the customer. But this is the lower ball joint right here. In many cases, this comes with the lower control arm. Whatever I'm talking about, the driver's side here applies to the right side, same thing to the passenger side. Also, you can see here the stabilizer links, or the sway bar link. You can see you check these two. If there is a play in them, they always make clinking noise when you come on a bump or you turn. Trying to control the light again, I'm sorry. So this one here, you could check it, you could shake it, see if it plays. It doesn't play. You could tap on the sway bar itself here, and if it makes noise, there's an issue with these. Also, the sway bar itself, it has its own bushing. Not everything I can show here because, let me see, I can see it probably from here. Alright, this side here is easier. Let me get my spray. You can see here, this is the sway bar right here. It's right here going all the way to the passenger side, and you can see there's a bushing here. These bushing goes bad. They go bad for the front and for the rear too. There's a rear sway bar in many cars. They go bad. They make a lot of noise. So this has to be checked. Those you check him by trying to move him or trying to tap on the bar itself, seeing if it makes noise. So this usually goes bad. You could see it. This is the passenger side, and there's another one on the driver's side. It's right there. It's this one here. So that's as far as the sway bar link and the sway bar itself. So these the links. You can see them right here. So these they go bad too. Also, one last thing I want to note here: the cradle have bushings too. Sometimes they go bad. They get hit by the driver when they're driving. They hit the sidewalk or they hit something on the road. They hit it here. They bend it. They put so much pressure on it. It causes a problem on the wheel itself, or on the whole setup. You could feel like vibration sometimes in the car. These will be too tight from the accident. Doesn't happen all the time, but this is probably in some cases. These has to be checked, front and rear. These rear bushing, this is a cradle bushing, K-frame bushing, whatever you want to call it, subframe, or they call it, most of the time they call it K-frame. So this is the rear bushing and this is the front bushing. Gotta pay attention to this. Whatever applies onto the driver's side applies to the passenger side. All right, and the strut on the top, it's too dark in here. You can see there's no upper control arm here. This is directly connected to the strut with those two bolts. So make sure you check this. Of course, there are other stuff I go beyond, but it's I don't want to get into it in this video, but this is very much the general rules in most of cars. A lot of other stuff, if the car been in an accident, like the spindle will be bent or the hub it's damaged. Those stuff, it's in rare situation if you have an accident. But this is in general, there's a car never been in an accident, there's no issues, it's just tear and wear. So you look at these bushings on the control arm, the lower ball joint, wheel bearing, upper ball joint if there is one, upper strut mounted. Most of cars use with upper strut mount instead of upper ball joint. That's very much it. So I cover. Also, there is sometimes issue with the rack and pinion. You can see the rack and pinions back there on this car. Let's see if I can point it. The rack and pinions right here with the yellow sticker on it. It's this one here on the top with the yellow sticker on it. That's the rack. If you have issue with the rack, most likely it's you're gonna feel a steering problem. You're not gonna be able to turn the car left or right easy, or there is like it's binding on certain turns. Anyway, so this is very much how you check your front suspension briefly. There is more in depth than this when you are a technician or when you are a mechanic, but this is for the general public, how to check it if you want to check it. Next video I'm gonna talk about the rear suspension. And that's very much it. I hope I covered everything. Thank you for watching.